Hello and welcome to the Fantasy Football Hub live stream. I'm John Nellis. I've shaved my head. That's Wes. I think his girlfriend cut his hair, aka FPL Heisenberg. And we've been here before, but this is more of a regular arrangement now, Wes.
Yeah, and just to touch on the haircut, I want some comments on it, good and bad. And also, I want to know what you think about John's as well.
Yeah, it's a bit Khabib Nurmagomedov, but I hope people like them. So the nail gun was first into the comments. Gary Proctor's there, Rajan Thandi, Dread FPL, Cash Sterling, Michael Tiltot says he's a multi and there's 6 of them at a pub. The lucky bastard. Patrick Gressler's there, Rich FPL. I've probably skipped someone, Richie Osgood, and God, I can't say your name, my friend, Mathunzi Ndebele, Moltrol. Anyway, Wes, tonight we're going to talk predominantly about wildcards. In saying that, if you aren't wildcarding, we'll be talking about the best players to be looking at for the next few weeks and maybe going as far ahead as 29. Yeah. I'm about 99.9% wildcarding. There's nothing that can really stop me bar FPL publishing fixtures and telling me there's no doubles in 26 at this stage. You're about 95% wildcarding.
Yeah. I really want those fixtures to come out, and as we're recording this at 8 p.m. on the Thursday, they're still not out. Obviously, deadline's tomorrow, Friday, 6:30. So if we get the fixtures, then yes. Guardiola dropped hints yesterday of he was kind of whinging about the extra fixtures being added in, which matched up with what Ben Crellin predicted. So that's a good sign. But yeah, I just kind of want official confirmation. And also, my team's in fairly decent shape with 2 free transfers. I'll flash up a graphic later of that so people know where I'm coming from. But yeah, wildcarding this week's definitely a really strong play.
Ben Crellin's either going to get a bunch of followers or lose a bunch of followers anyway.
It's going to get some angry people as well.
I suppose before we get right into it, where is he there? Torbjorn, that's what I'm going for. Torbjorn Skrunes says, try my name then. I tried my best. And Johan thought you were a lot older than you are, Heisenberg. He's just out of the womb. But before we get right into it, I suppose let people know a small bit about us, more so you, why they should listen to us, because this is going to be a regular feature now, and this is why we want you tuning in to listen to us too each week. So we're John and Wes. We host the FPL Double Up podcast. If you're into podcasts, check it out. That's FPL Double Up. Wes is the kind of guru here, and I'm the dickhead who he pulls along beside him and kind of throws some stuff out there. So Wes, I'm going to switch over to this next screen and throw up your history. Do you want to tell us a bit about you?
Yeah, but you're definitely not the dickhead this year, John, because you're flying high. But we'll get onto you in a minute. So obviously, I don't know. I guess most of the listeners might already know who I am through my Twitter account and being involved with Hub for a couple of years now. But for those who don't, FPL Heisenberg on Twitter. Got fairly decent rank history, and I've this season went into the sort of full-time world of fantasy football. So just some of the things I do is, like you said, the pod with yourself, the FPL Double Up. I run the Twitter account for Fantasy Football Hub, write articles for Fantasy Football Hub, do all sorts of just FPL related stuff, help people on WhatsApp through Fantasy Football Hub WhatsApp groups as well. That's me really.
Yeah, so if I don't know what that sort of image over there looks like on your screens, but is it 6 top 30k finishes in a row, 31k or so was your worst?
Yeah, I think so. It's not bad, is it, John?
Yeah, that's not bad at all. That's not bad. I had a 52k last year, so for anyone listening, I don't know if anyone who's been in mini leagues with me for the last 10 years is there, but I just kind of was one of those guys in a mini league who kind of cared but didn't really care. But it's only been about last season I started betting more on football and stuff, and I started really caring about FPL. I got a 52k finish. Danny Ings missing a penalty cost me about 20k spots in game week 37.
Yeah, I remember that.
But this year I'm sitting at about 18k, coaching by Wes here, and looking pretty good. So that's us. You should probably listen to Wes more than me, but he puts me in my place when I get carried away. So Wes, we're talking about wildcards, and then we'll get on to captaincy. And throughout we'll be talking about players for the next few weeks for anyone who doesn't care about wildcards but has a couple of transfers to use. Is there anything else we have planned? I think that's about it, isn't it? Oh, we're going to look at some other people's wildcards and what they've drafted.
Yeah, we're going to look at people's wildcards who have tweeted me with theirs to be sort of had a look at, and yeah, we'll take questions as keep the questions coming in the comments. Just need to get them up actually, and if we see, and we could hopefully answer some of those as we go as well.
I'm seeing lots of people already asking, give me wildcard picks. What's the best selection for a Game Week 26 bench boost? That's literally what I'm doing. So if you do watch the whole stream, we will get there and we will do all that. Equally, keep the questions coming. If they're way too specific, like I have Trent and I have Werner, what can I do to get in Kane? We're probably going to skip over because that'll bore the tits off everyone else watching. But if it's a general question about FPL, we will try our best. So, Wes, do you have a screenshot of my team from last week, or can you go in and view it? Probably should have sent you this beforehand, but here we are. You can look at how my team was last week, and I'll tell you my thought process for the wild card while I'm clicking about in the screen for everyone watching. So,
yeah, go ahead.
First thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to take out everyone that I don't want going ahead. And we're using Ben Crell's fixture planner to base all this around. Some people who maybe aren't as in the loop on FPL, Twitter, etc. might think we're mad. Well, I'm mad. What definitely wildcarding, and you pretty mad for strongly considering wildcarding around nothing but another man's word. But Ben has got a really good track record in predicting these things, and he is seen as the guru in this sort of world of fixture planning. So who I don't want, I actually don't want Loughton, really. I don't know how you feel about that, but I'm probably going to get rid of Loughton. I'm going to get rid of Cresswell, Souček and Antonio, getting rid of the West Ham lads. I like them, but they've no real double potential coming up. Edison Cavani was a 1 week punt for me, so he's going. And that leaves me with the base of, and a lot of players will have a lot of these. Maybe you've got Diaz instead of Stones, but most of us will have Cancelo and maybe Diaz or Stones. I have Dallas, who's high owned, Martinez and Pope. I have both, and I'm considering keeping both. In fact, I'm pretty sure I'm going to keep both for that 26 bench boost. Jack Grealish, well, that's because I can afford it. If I needed to downgrade Pope for a few quid, I would. Jack Grealish is there, Salah's there, Gundogan's there, Fernandez is there, who's scored 2 tonight, and Bamford is there. So, straight off the bat, what I'm thinking was, I'm going to fill a couple of these out and let you know how we're sitting. So, I did this earlier, and there was a lot of things I was unsure about, and I'm really kind of all over the place. But I want Rafinha for next week. I'll probably take one of those Leeds guys out as my transfer to go into 26. But for this double coming, I want Rafinha, Bamford, and Dallas. That's who I want.
Yeah.
I also want triple Villa. Now, the decision I have to make here is, do I want Watkins or do I want Target? They're the two I'm considering.
So you're set on Grealish and Martinez then?
Yeah, they're in my team. I've got value built up on them. Not that it matters too much. I really like them anyway, and the value's there, so I'm set on that.
Yeah.
Blues FPL's asking to have a free hit. No, I used that in 19. So I'm looking at this with a wild card and a bench boost left. I'm hitting the wild card hard, bench boosting in 26, and I'm going to have at least 7, 8, 9 players who are in 29. They have a fixture, and I'll probably get another couple in before. People are all asking Martinez and Pope why, with question marks. I might just be one guy, but I've seen it a couple of times. For me, Wes, am I crazy doing that? What I'm looking at is I have Pope. No. And the reason I have Pope, people look at this as crazy, but I had 2 free transfers going into last week. I brought Pope in for Forster because I had the funds to play Pope in the double and leave Martinez on the bench. Didn't work out, lost 2 points, but that's why I'm in this position. That's why Cavani's there. I'm not a crazy bastard. It was a 1 week punt. But I'm considering keeping Pope and Martinez for the double in 26.
No, yeah, you're not crazy, because in case we'll flash up the graphic from Ben Crellin at some point as well into one of these boxes. Or John will. I'm not very technical.
I've just thrown it up.
Oh, perfect. Yes. So, as you can see, then Burnley have a double game week in 26. And if you're bench boosting, you don't really want, for most of the season, okay, take the first sort of 18, 19 game weeks of the season or wherever it was, I had Forster and McCarthy, and I was very happy with that because both Southampton keepers, cheap as chips, always had a playing keeper if one missed out, which even did happen against Liverpool, and Forster came in for a jammy clean sheet. But no, you don't really want to be going for, say, Martinez, then a cheap keeper, because that's a wasted spot on your bench boost. It will cause a little bit of a dilemma from game week 27 onwards when you've got both two expensive keepers, and you're going to be leaving points on the bench. You possibly might get the rotation wrong. Like, you might play the easier fixture, but it
I'd
might
probably
not work
have
out.
to waste the keeper transfer at some stage. I'll probably just
Yeah,
have to do it.
yeah, it wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing if you've made up a load of points on your bench boost, and then the following week you need that money. And yeah, say if you needed 1.5 million, you could go Pope to a 4.0 backup, and then stick with Martinez for the rest of the season. It's going to cost you one transfer or -4, but assuming Pope gets over 4 points on the bench boost, it's going to pay for itself anyway.
Well, that's it. I'm imagining he'll play 180 minutes and get a few saves, and if he gets a clean sheet, wonderful. I'll put away the Krellin planner, as I call it, and we'll go back to the team here. A good question there actually from Rich FPL. Would I be wildcarding if I didn't have a bench boost? Probably not. I'd wait another week at least. I wouldn't be in this position because I wouldn't have took the Cavani. I took Cavani in for Dominic Calvert-Lewin and I brought Pope in for Forster. Last week's 2 transfers would have been very different. I probably would have been set up with the likes of Ings. So this has all been planning on this wild card, praying the 26 comes off and I'm bench boosting. It is what it is. I could live or die by it. And then I'm going to be I'm okay set up for 29. I don't have the free hit, but I'll have 7, 8, 9 more players. And I'm just going to play the season from there. I have a lot of value built up in the likes of Martinez, Bamford, etc. So these are solid players that I actually spent quite little money on, so I can kind of have a bit more flexibility. I think my team value is about 106, 107 million, which is decent. Anyway, bit of rambling here, Wes. I'll keep trying to build this. You can
let's keep building your team then,
Yeah, so I'm going to leave Stones, Cancelo, and I'm going to leave Gundogan. I want triple City. Gundogan, I think Pep said he could be back for the next game. I'm going to keep them.
I'm going to jump in on triple City actually. I like the 3 you've chosen, and if I'm kind of in, maybe wildcard and maybe not, and if I do wildcard, I was even looking at the likes of Edison, just because all the outfield players are going to rotate over these next few weeks, apart from obviously Edison, the goalkeeper. I like Gundogan for his value. There's been quotes from Pep saying he should be okay for this week. Arsenal, so keep him. And then, the extra defender I was potentially looking at, I don't know who's the most nailed. I feel like Stones, Cancelo and Diaz will all miss the odd game here and there. So therefore, my favoured defender is Cancelo because of how attacking he is. So I'm all for Stones, Cancelo, Gundogan, brilliant, spot on. But I also, and especially obviously you've got 2 really good keepers there who get save points, who get bonus. Edison doesn't get save points really, and he rarely gets bonus unless he gets an assist. But it was just something I was considering Edison just for the nailed on this, that when City have all these double game weeks, we've just seen in the double game week gone by, not many of the defenders actually played in both games. I think only Cancelo was actually the only one. So you kind of just more guaranteed of that clean sheet, and they are racking up clean sheets. So even without bonus and save points, 2 clean sheets in a double game week for Edison, he's going to get a 12 pointer, which is really big for a goalkeeper anyway. So that's why I like Edison, but I do really love Pope and Martinez for their. It's hard to go against that because of their save points. They're both kind of very similar in terms of save points, bonus points. Martinez has taken it to another level this year, but Pope this year and traditionally has been that keeper as well. So I'm kind of just by doing this video, I'm kind of actually coming around to the idea of Pope and Martinez. But then you've got that rotation risk of Stones, Cancelo. They could both miss out in the same week. I think it happened to you earlier on in the season, didn't it?
It did. It happened to a lot of us. Yeah. But I think for me, the big thing here is Stones has had his rest. Obviously, Laporte's back in the thinking, which is a killer. Diaz had a rest too. Can they all be fit in? I don't know. Will he play all 3? Probably not.
Zinchenko, Walker
was there. Walker, Cancelo.
Mendy still gets the odd. Well, I can't remember the last Mendy game actually, but I think I'm not trying to. I won't worry about rotation too much because they do have a lot of double game weeks, and you will get them for at least one game out of a double game week. So I'm not saying don't go for Stones or Cancelo or Diaz. That was just my only thinking of how can I nail in a City defender, and Edison's the way of doing it. But then obviously, like I said, I won't repeat myself too much, but then you lose out on the potential save points, etc., etc.
Well, it's also the extra 0.6 million or so you'd have to spend on Ederson over Pope.
Yeah. But I guess then you could possibly get a cheaper defender rather than the likes of Stones or Diaz, maybe. So
anyway, we're going Stones and Cancelo and Gundogan. That's where we're at. Fair play. So far, I've only actually brought in Rafinha. I'm thinking up top. This is where it gets really difficult, right? And we just had a question along these lines, and sorry I've missed you, but I would love Barnes I think this other guy in the comments, where is he? He told us who he had. I've missed it. I've lost it. He says that he has... Can't find it. There's so many comments coming in. Thank you. He has Grealish, Madison, Salah, Fernandes, and Gundogan. Who to take out for Rafinha? Now it's this thing where I wish I could play like a 3-6-3-7-1 or whatever 3-6-1 is not what it would be. Like I really want Barnes, but I've got Rafinha, Fernandes, Gundogan, Salah, and Grealish. I've grown quite attached to Grealish, and I think he could bang, but he probably is the logical one to remove, and it gives me a couple of million. Do you know, if I want to bring in Barnes, it gives me an extra million.
Yeah, on Grealish, and again, I love him as a player. We've kind of said this on our pod in the past, and when we've done live streams for Hub as well, I think. But with Grealish, I love him as a player, and he could easily prove me wrong and go on a big scoring spree. He's obviously had really big hauls at home to Liverpool, at home to Southampton, and a couple others off the top of my head I can't remember. But I don't know, in recent weeks, I think his numbers have fallen down a little bit. I haven't got the numbers to hand, but his numbers have fallen down, and he's just not getting as many FPL returns as we'd like. I do feel I don't like this word in FPL, but I do feel like he has been very unlucky though, because he is creating chances for the like of Watkins. And again, Watkins is a player who gets a lot of shots away, but doesn't necessarily have the best shot conversion, a bit like Bamford. So therefore, Grealish is creating these chances that aren't necessarily getting put away. Grealish is taking some really good like powerful shots, but the keepers are saving them. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe with a bit more luck he could do well, but yeah, I guess that you could save yourself. How much was that, John? There on Barnes, maybe.
I think I saved like 0.7 million or something.
Yeah, and I do really like Leicester assets. They're in really good form. They've got a double coming up in 26. Harvey Barnes is really direct. Really likely to get goals from him. A lot of midfielders, you get a lot of points from assists, but Barnes he can get you assists, but he's very direct. He likes to get a shot. I remember in the first few weeks of the season, he was right up there with like, total shots along with like Salah and Kane and stuff. So Barnes is a player who, middle part of the season just gone, he's kind of went off the boil a bit, but now the last he's played 90 minutes or 75 plus in the last like 9-10 games or something. I know it's early when I was looking at him. So Barnes is a player I like. So yeah, I guess if you could then squeeze in someone like Target at the back, you'd have that double Villa clean sheet. You'd have a cheap-ish option there. And therefore you could get the likes of, Danny Ings in quite comfortably, Kane if you need him, etc.
That's the other thing. I'd love to have Son in midfield. Where does he go? Do you get rid of Salah for Son? Ugh, I don't think I want to.
Yeah, Son. I'm not sure. Yeah, if I did wildcard, it is hard to squeeze in all those big players, the likes of, Kane, Vardy. You can make an argument for Ings, who's got a double this week. So if you're wildcarding this week, you've got to keep obviously an eye on this week. You've realistically got to get. I'm assuming you're going to get Danny Ings, John.
Well, yeah, he's definitely up on top of the list. Two talking points from the comments was a couple of jokes here about Ashley Barnes or Harvey Barnes. We're firmly talking about Harvey Barnes, young ginger guy, the fox. I know, but a good question here from Pedja, and it's something I've been thinking. And when I was drafting earlier and having a bit of a fart around, I had him in, and I realised it's KDB. So with two discussion points here on premiums, KDB I want to discuss, and as someone's just alluded to, Kane injured ? Kane was left out of the Europa League squad. So what's going on there, one would ask.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bring him in because of that, actually, and I haven't heard any more, and maybe you could wait till tomorrow and get something from a press conference, and maybe I'll hear something that changes my mind, but as it stands, I'm not taking that punt. I've got until 29 to get the Spurs guys in if I want them. I think in the short term, the likes of Vardy and or Ings look better for me, but discussing KDB, we talk about this quite often, Wes. It's about keeping the odds in your favour, playing the game and making the smart bets. For me, I would like to see KDB with 65 minutes in his legs before I bring him in for the next 2 weeks. I could see it happening where he gets a niggle again, or they're trying to protect him, or he comes on for 25 minutes, or I would just like to see him back. And it's not even like he had some great scores before I think he got injured. But as you said, his amount of goals from open play this season has been worrying.
Yeah. And like with your setup there, and a lot of steps, like the kind of example I said earlier, which would be like Edison, a defender, and then Gundogan. You've obviously got two defenders plus Gundogan. You can't fit De Bruyne in. You'd have to take out one of those defenders or Gundogan. You don't want to take out Gundogan. He's in the form of his life, scoring an insane amount of goals. He should be fit. And the good thing about his he's had obviously this niggling injury, but it means he's had kind of an enforced rest where he hasn't just played 90 minutes at Goodison and he didn't play 90 minutes at home to Tottenham either. It was only 58. So that minor groin strain has given him an actual rest. So it should be then fresh to go again. And he's half the price of De Bruyne there or thereabouts. So, and he's a captain option as well because he's scoring those goals. He's got brace away at Liverpool, brace against Spurs. I don't know what the stats are now with like goals per game in his last sort of 12, but it's probably like 12 goals in 12 games there or thereabouts. So, and yeah, even without all those good assets, so we're already locked into Triple City in my opinion. Even if we weren't, like you said, De Bruyne, he's not getting the minutes. Sorry, we need to see him getting those minutes and then be assured of his game time. And those goals from open play this year have dried up. I think it's only 1 goal from open play plus 2 penalties. Great on the assists, but yeah, I think there's better options at his price. Yeah.
But that's even like it's a two-pronged thing. One side of it is you're blocking a City slot, and you probably they're the best defense in the league, albeit there's rotation risk. Gundogan half the price, doing what he's doing. But that's one argument. You might leave him out of City because you only have 3 anyway, like regardless of the value and regardless of the rest of the team. Then on top of that, you have to sacrifice Fernandes, Salah, or like a Kane, and that's the killer. It's a double, yeah do you know?
Exactly.
There's a lot of talk about Kane in the comments that he isn't injured, he's been rested and stuff, and that might well be the case, and something might come out in a press conference. I think for me, while Kane looks great to have, he's always lovely to have, I'm happy just to kind of wait, get a couple of guys in for this double on 26, and then maybe try and get him in for 29. Anyway.
Yeah, I can see my sister-in-law's in the comments there, Jenny Sanders, but that could be her fella Scott there saying about the Farmers, yeah. But a serious point on Kane. He's definitely not rested because, when I've seen a quote from Mourinho saying that he couldn't travel and he listed him alongside the other injured players like Reguilon and Lo Celso. But so he is out for a reason. And also Mourinho's going to want to win that game. He's not going to, leave Kane out from the squad completely. So there's something going on with Kane. Don't know what it is. Maybe a knock, maybe a family issue, maybe COVID, or he has to self-isolate for a week or whatever it is. Who knows? But it's definitely, he hasn't just been rested and left at home. Not a chance.
So I've just went ahead and thrown Ings and Watkins in. You're on a bit of a delay to me, Wes, there. Watkins I'm questioning, but now that I've took out Jack Grealish, I wasn't going to have Watkins, but now that I've taken out Grealish, I'm thinking, do you know what? That's a space for Watkins. I can't say I love Watkins. I can't say I love him, but I like him. And 29 is in my head. That's the big thing here. So Watkins and Ings and Bamford, that's solid 3 up top. Benching's going to be a ball ache next week, but going into 26, I'll be looking strong, and then I can start to weed people out and upgrade other players as I see fit. In terms of the 2 defenders, one that we talked about recently and one that a lot of people are talking about is Rudiger. He's cheap. He's played the last 5, 6, 7, 8 games in a row, 7 games in a row. He's getting a lot of clean sheets. They've had 4 clean sheets in the last 5. They actually conceded to Sheffield. Yeah. I'm thinking
he scored the own goal in that game, didn't he? Did you see it? He tried to pass it back to the keeper. It was comical, but yeah, like he is a very good option.
At 4.6, how are they looking on the Krellin planner? Let me just check. For people watching, very quickly to explain this planner, you can check it out. I think Ben Krellin has it on his Twitter. If you look up Ben Krellin, Crellin, you'll find him. Basically, along the top of the game weeks and down the left of the teams, and it shows you who they'll play. That kind of dark brown colour is the very, very likely double game weeks in 26. So Chelsea fall in that. They have Man United and Liverpool, which is hard. But he's cheap. And he has, could you say, is an aerial threat at set pieces? I don't know, can you? Does he?
Yeah, and he almost scored the goal that Werner scored the other day in the home game. Rudiger was there to tap it. It was well over the line, but Darlow scraped it out. Rudiger tapped in the rebound, so he was kind of in and amongst it in that 6-yard box, trying to score from corners. So yeah, he's got a bit of a goal threat there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm thinking of him for one of my defender slots, and that leaves me with 9.8 million for the last defender. Wes, pick a defender for me. Who do you like the look of over the next few weeks?
How much money did you say?
I've 9.8 million, which is great because I actually wouldn't mind having some money left over to take out Rafinha, probably, depending how he does, or Bamford to really optimise that bench boost in 26.
Yeah, and if Kane is if Kane is, or yeah, so say if you do fancy Kane or Son by the time week 26 roll around, where Spurs will possibly have
Yeah.
a favourable double, you could possibly have that money to save and go straight from Ings or Watkins or Bamford, whoever it might be, up to a Harry Kane, Rafinha up to like a Son character or whatever it might be. So yeah, keeping that money in the bank will be good. Defenders, though, is interesting. I'm just going to get the Krellin planner up on my phone. Two with me. I'll actually, before I look at that, I will throw a defender out that I spoke about on our pod, which was Aina from Fulham. I actually tipped him that he scored that same night, John, away at Burnley.
Lovely.
But he got 20 points in the double game we just gone. He got an assist against Fulham and a clean sheet and 2 bonus, I think it was. He also then got the goal away at Burnley. Fulham are defending really well. If you look at their fixtures, I think they're playing 2 or 3 teams that are in and amongst them in the next few. And they're one of the golden sort of teams who they play in week 29 as well. So for your setup, you want a player who plays in 29. He's cheap enough to bench every week until you get to week 29 as well. And yeah, like I said, Fulham are much improved than what they were the first sort of, 8-9 game weeks of the season. The last 6, 7, 8, 9 game weeks, they have been good. Yeah, so they've got Sheffield United. Is that Crystal Palace there? Can't really see on the screen. You can bench him against Liverpool in 27. You can bench him against City in 28, and then play him in 29 when players are going to be scarce in the blank.
Would Iana then make that final slot? Do you think? I'll throw him in and Maybe. I'll tell you the team we have. How about that?
Yeah, throw him in. But yeah, I'm not saying he's like an amazing option that's going to do throw up any trees. And there's other options out there, like we said with Target earlier. If you wanted that triple Villa. I was just throwing someone out there who isn't going to be in a lot of people's thoughts, and I'll probably get hammered for in the comments, but bring it on.
So, I'll talk you through the team. It might be up on your screen by now. We have Martinez and Pope.
Yeah, I've got it.
Looks a bit strong, but it's great for game week 26. Rudiger, Dallas, Stones, Cancelo, Iana, Barnes, Salah, Gundogan, Fernandes, Rafinha, Watkins, Ings, and Bamford. 5.5 million in the bank. Looks a bit overkill, but I'm leaving the door open. I'm thinking for Kane, for Son, if KDB starts banging and Gundogan's injury is prolonged or something, maybe I want to get Vardy in and Ings is injured, or maybe anything could happen. I'm actually flexibility there. Kind of a fan of going into game week 25. I'll have the triple leads. I'll have Danny Ings. Maybe one thing that could be considered, and let me just throw up the Ben Crellin planner to check out Southampton for a second. Like they're possible double.
Sorry, John. I was just going to jump in and say that they're likely to have 3 out of the next 4 game weeks could be double game weeks. So if you're looking at it as as these next 6 game weeks as a certain game week period, then they are going to have, or it's likely that they will have 3 double game weeks. So you can see there from the planner you brought up. So yeah, you could bring in, so that Aina spot that we just spoke about, that could be like a Vestergaard who's got a goal threat from corners, and we all know how good Ward-Prowse is at delivering corners. So you've got some aerial threat there. The reason I'm not gun-ho, normally I'm pretty gun-ho on anyone with a double game week. I'm like, yeah, boom, double game week. Southampton have looked really poor at the back recently, and they play Chelsea, likely to score, let's be honest. Leeds, they're likely to score against anyone. So for their double, I don't know. I just can't. I could be wrong, obviously. I just can't see their defenders getting a clean sheet there. Then their doubles after that include the likes of Tottenham or Man City, with some easy ones in there as well. So there's definitely a shout for Ings is 100% coming into my team, I think. And a defender is definitely a shout because they're cheap as well. Something like Vestergaard. So yeah, Vestergaard's definitely worth considering.
Travel Talk says, alright lads, I've wildcarded and chosen Ward-Prowse over Rafinha. Assure me I'm not crazy. I believe that's Alex. So yeah, it's one of those. James Ward-Prowse, he has those moments, he has those game weeks where he's incredible at free kicks. We all know this. His set piece delivery is insane. They have some big bastards who'll head that ball. I think he's a solid choice. I just find it really hard to justify picking him over Rafinha at the minute with the double coming. Well, Southampton have the double, but with
Leeds have the better double.
It's the 29, game week 29.
Yeah, Leeds have the better double. You said about the game week 29 though, but Southampton have doubles before then, so I guess you can capitalise on Southampton now. But yeah, I'm not against Ward-Prowse. Rafinha, are you going to want 3? If you have Ward-Prowse over Rafinha, I guess He's going to have Dallas there and Bamford, so he's only going to have 2 leads. I do prefer Rafinha over Ward-Prowse personally. He is a little bit cheaper as well. Ward-Prowse seems to be one of those players who plays 90 minutes every week, which is great. But his attacking returns, you are kind of relying on set pieces. Like Dan Bailey's actually just popped up in the comments saying the exact same thing. You are fairly reliant on set pieces with Ward-Prowse. And I find Rafinha a bit more exciting. Rafinha's now on corners for Leeds. I noticed the other day he was, I think he got the assist versus Arsenal for
Strike I'd go for, but yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. He scored from a corner. He's only 3.9 million as well. So, if you're out there with, limited budget, John's got a lot of budget, but say if you don't and you can't even, maybe you can't afford Dallas, look at Strike,
whatever it is.
But yeah, no, I mean, this isn't about us saying this is the wildcard team, everyone go and pick this is the best wildcard team. There'll be wildcards out there that work out better than John's. There'll be ones that work out not as well. But it's just about, like you said, tipping the odds in your favour, picking a solid squad overall. We can't predict the future exactly. And if you fancy Ward-Prowse over Rafinha, then that's a perfectly legitimate choice. It's not as if you're picking you're not coming just and saying like Romeo from Southampton or someone a poor FPL asset. He is a good FPL asset. So yeah, go for it.
2 things. Andy Armstrong says Walker Peters is injured. James Ward-Prowse is likely to fill in at fullback. I've seen that said a few times, and it's true. It's just another risk there. Maybe his attacking threat is somewhat diminished. Even though he's a 90% set-piece player, there still is that slight bit of, reduction in his attacking output. You'd imagine not hanging around the edge of the box as much. Second thing is, me and Wes are very big advocates of, we're both relatively risk-adverse when it comes to FPL. Outside FPL, I'm probably not, but me and you, we don't really go mad differentials too often. Your biggest differential of the season's probably been Lookman.
And I don't go for differential's sake. So if I don't look at that stat sort of team selected by at all. For example, when I had a poor start to the season, I was chasing, but I still wanted Calvert-Lewin and a lot of other players who were highly owned, but I wanted them, so I've got them. Whereas otherwise, like you said, I've got in Lookman, and at other times I've had Rashford when he's been a differential. I haven't got them because they're differentials or because they're highly owned. I've just got them because I've believed in them for their certain set of fixtures. John, just two things I need to plug in my laptop because it's running out of battery, and there's 283 people watching, but there's only 43 people liking that. So
what?
I just wanted to sort that out with John.
Wes, he's gone, but you can't mean to tell me that we have 285 people watching and only 40 people have clicked the like button. Now, I know yous are all great fellas and ladies, and I know yous love us a lot. So, I challenge yous to make that hit 100 by the time Wes gets back. That would be insane, because I know yous are all great, you just don't think to do it. So turn your phone on the side, minimize chat, and hit the thumbs up button. If you're on your laptop, just do it. It really, really helps. We kind of want Hub to want to have us back. I don't know if they will if we don't get any likes. Oh, and also subscribe to Hub while you're here. We'll be on the next few Thursdays in a row at 8 p.m. Right, Wes. So look, this is my I think this is my wildcard draft now.
Yeah.
I don't want people going crazy and killing me if it doesn't turn out exactly like this. We've seen that happen around the FPL world, the FPL Twitter world. I'll not name names, but yeah, this is my kind of rough draft at the minute. I think maybe depending on news and press conferences that could change. I'm not going to lock it in. We should have locked it in. Why am I not locking it in?
Yeah, but just to touch on what you said, like everyone, we're content creators essentially, and we'll be building teams or putting suggestions out there. But by the time the end of the week comes, our mind might have changed. So yeah, absolutely nothing wrong with you. Anyone who is on a wildcard, I highly advise to tinker right up until the deadline, because if we get news of double game weeks breaking or whatever, or if things don't turn out, you are going to change your team. The say Villa don't get whatever. So yeah.
Question was, two or three people have asked my rank. It's 18k. So I would be much more sheepish and avoid those questions if it was much higher. But Tendai Horton says it's a nice stream, lads. Can't believe I'm just finding you now. And Lewis Bootloop. Anyway, he's from France and he's enjoying it. Guys, thanks so much. Maybe that was the cry for likes and we're getting a bit of delay on the comments. And there's someone who keeps spamming their team in the comments. That's not how you get a reply, my friend. Wes, I was going to say to you this. We're talking about wild cards, right? people are debating this wild card, and we were all hoping for the fixtures probably at about 4 p.m. today. Not getting the fixtures by 4 p.m. tomorrow or by deadline tomorrow. How much do you trust this, and would you be waiting to see if the fixtures come in before you lock in the wild card? Like, how much of you is waiting for fixtures, or are you willing to take that punt? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like, what is stopping me? Why am I hesitant to hit this wild card? I don't actually know myself.
Because, well, for me, what are you going to gain by hitting it now? If news does break and you end up changing your mind, your squad's in a bit of a different position to mine. But if you're definitely going to wild card, regardless of the fixtures, then you can lock it in, and then you can tweak it up until. But as I'm not chasing any sort of value this year or price changes that happen overnight, I'm happy to work on my wild card if needs be Friday daytime and lock it in then. So I see no reason to pull the trigger in case things happen.
So I'm going to actually just take a photo of this so I don't forget it. It is the draft. If nothing else changes, no major news, this is what I'm doing. We'll talk about captaincy in a second. Just interact with the comments quickly first, Wes. And can you tell me how many likes have happened? I called for 100 by the time you got back. I'm going to guess these chancers only have us at about 80.
Let's have a look. I need to bring the stream back up on my phone. 134.
You're joking me.
Not bad.
Jeez. Fair play. See, they're great people. They just don't do it unless you ask, because I wouldn't do it unless I was asked. Anyway, thank you so much. Yeah, genuinely, thank you so much. Really, really does help with people finding this. Rishi Patel says, Kane's fine. Apparently, I'm assuming this is a Jose quote. He made the decision based on his feeling that to play this game could be a risk based on the accumulation of injuries. We in the sports science staff agreed. I believe Sunday he will be okay. So
that's a direct quote. If that is I'll get that verified, but if that is a direct quote, then great.
Yeah. Nelgon says I should lock this in and grow a set. And Andy Armstrong says he has some cheek. He has got some cheeks. I know the guy. He's got very big cheeks. It's true. It's actually true. Some people are saying just wildcard, it looks solid. Are you wildcarding this week, Wes? We said you're about 90-95%. I think it's time to talk about captaincy, unless you want to allude or talk a bit more on that wildcard.
Yeah, no, let's move on. There's lots to cover, so yeah, let's move on to some other bits. And yeah, I might wildcard, I might not. I've got a screenshot for you guys of a move that I might do if I don't wildcard, and a different strategy to consider.
Will I throw it up now?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, so if Wes does wildcard, it'll probably be very similar to this, maybe one or two different things based on players you already have, based on team value, based on stuff that might have to be tinkered slightly. Yeah.
There was a good number of players there that will be in mine. There were some different ones that I'd consider, but yeah, it will be fairly similar-ish, I guess. And I'll post it again just to remind you guys of something that is on offer on Fantasy Football Hub. Is I do my team reveals on Fantasy Football Hub every week as well, so you can find it on Hub, which is an article with my team basically.
Yeah, you can go and find Fantasy Football Hub on their website and subscriptions and stuff in the description of this video. Yeah. So I'm gonna make this disappear over there. Look at that, right? And we're going to pop up your alternative choice. You've done us a nice little graphic there. So it will cost you a -4. I see you getting rid of Lookman and Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah. So with my... so I've got 2 free transfers in the bank. My team's set up fairly well. And I could potentially, if I did do this, you can see there that, Lookman would come out for Rafinha. Calvert-Lewin would change to Danny Ings. And I'd need to find a little bit of money, so I'd need to find about 0.7, I think it was. So I'd take out Robertson for a defender 6.5 million or less. Now I could look at someone like Vestergaard, like we spoke about, or someone like that, get a double game week player in there, have a really solid 11. My bench would be fairly decent if you think about. You see Watkins there, third sub. I obviously like Watkins, not necessarily third sub. This was more for a bench boost because I'd have Pope and McCarthy. Pope's got West Brom at home. McCarthy's got a double, so I've got 2 good keepers. I've got Kufal away at home to Spurs. Not great, but Spurs are in indifferent form, and West Ham have been pretty good all season. So who knows? A clean sheet there wouldn't be the most, ridiculous outcome in the world. Then my defender who would come in for Robertson, like I said, would probably be like someone like Vestergaard. Again, a double game week, so you're hoping for at least 4 to 6 points as a bare minimum, really. And then Watkins has got a goal in him against anyone, so hopeful there. So yeah, I could potentially bench boost there. And then what that would allow me is to wildcard in actual game week 26 when we know all the information, we know all the fixtures. I could then pick a much more cheaper bench, go back to a non-playing keeper, have decent options on the bench who play, but not really expensive ones. So I might even move back to someone like Lookman as just a cheap bench option, get a cheap 4.5 defender, that sort of thing, and therefore not be kind of worrying about bench points for the rest of the season. But that every sort of scenario has drawbacks. I like the fact that you're attacking the bench, the wild card, and going for it with a bench boost. That's something that I'd usually do most years. So I think I will possibly go that way. But this is just another way if I don't fancy gambling on the fixtures.
Just to reference the comments a bit there, and then we'll move on to captaincy ways. Bamford taking penalties for Leeds at the minute. He's back on them. I believe his teammate missed one, and that's kind of how they roll, isn't it?
Yeah. So 100%.
Just in 3 words says Javier Diaz, Odegaard. We've talked about young Martin Odegaard a fair bit recently, but that tonight is not the time. We've talked about that a lot on podcasts. And a question here, and I've seen this debated a couple of times, Pope over McCarthy. Obviously, Pope has that lovely fixture with West Brom. I'm going to have a hard time actually I'm probably going to end up, it's actually nice that I have that Pope and Martinez thing. Martinez is a keeper I've had since game week 3, and he's brilliant. Just doesn't matter the fixture, leave him in, but I'd be tempted to just leave him on the bench this week for Pope. And you're tempted to leave McCarthy there.
Yeah, so if I didn't bench boost and if I didn't wildcard, just hypothetically, and I was sitting there with Pope and McCarthy, I would go for Pope because it's West Brom at home. I see that as a possible 7-pointer plus there, clean sheet and some save points and some bonus. And I see McCarthy conceding against both teams, so realistically coming out with under 6 points in those games. So I do see Pope as the better option if I had to pick out of those two for sure.
Right. We'll take away this lovely little graphic and we're going to play a game, I think. So we're looking at captaincy. There's a big 3 that have been thrown around this week. I'll not give their names away just yet. How do you want to play this, Wes?
However you want. I'll get the stream back up so I can see what everyone sees as well whilst you're doing that. However you want to play it, John.
I don't have a clue how to play it, so we'll throw this one up, but this is kind of giving the game
Throw
away.
it on the screen.
Anyway, Bamford and Rafinha. 2 Leeds players. Both have been touted a lot. Both have been talked about a lot. We all know what Bamford can do. There's an argument that Rafinha's more explosive when he does bang. Rafinha's had some insane returns since he started getting regular game time, and he's quality. With the skills he does, he's got a lightning strike on him. He's creative. I really, really rate him. I can see him going right to the very top. He was well on my radar in the football index space before I was into FPL, but I'm over the moon that he settled into Leeds because I know he was pretty gutted to be going there when he first got the transfer. I think he was kind of just told you're going to Leeds, but he settled in. He's having a good time. Do you want to explain this graphic to us a bit?
So that's a comparison that, again, not to plug Fantasy Football Hub's features so much, but I do just genuinely use them when I'm doing my fantasy football research. So this is a graph that you can compare 2 players, you can do all sorts. So here I've compared 2 of the most popular captaincy choices for this week, both Leeds options as well, both obviously with double. And you can see who's getting the most big chances in the game, which is Bamford in blue there. You can see more shots in the box. Shots on target is the same. We all know Bamford's a little bit erratic with his finishing, either misses the target or doesn't finish that well for the amount of chances he does get. And you can also see that Bamford has actually created more big chances. So I'd say on the stats there, for me, it looks like, and this is in the last 6 game weeks, so it's right up to date. It's not taking a big sample. It's the last 6 game weeks. Rafinha's getting in more crosses, probably because he's on corners, more key passes. But the big chances created and the expected assists, XA, you can see that near the top. That means expected assists. Bamford's even higher on that, which actually surprised me. I was expecting to see Bamford maybe a bit more shot heavy and Rafinha maybe a bit more creative, but I was wrong. And then on the XG, expected goals, Bamford again higher. He's getting more big chances, more shots in the box. So for me, the stats point to Bamford. Watching the games points to Bamford. For me, I think as well, I think he's a better player than Bamford, but I think from fantasy point of view, Bamford's the man.
So you would be captain and Bamford out of these 2?
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of talk. FPL Dave talks a bit about shields and swords, and this week you could look at Bamford as a shield who will protect your rank, and FPL Swats alluded to it in the comments there. Bamford to hold rank and protect that rank, Rafinha to make games and go on the offensive, the sword to attack. because of the differential factor, because most people will play it safe with Bamford. So we've talked about this, and we aren't big into ownership percentages. We're more into just score as many points as you can. You know, that's how you win, inevitably. That's how you win your mini leagues. That's how you win and increase your overall rank. But at what stage are we getting to the stage in the season where if you're chasing and if you do play for the mini leagues, if you do play for, you don't care about the OR but you care about beating your mate? Is it at that stage where it's time to start considering going a bit rogue, or do you not buy that?
I don't buy it. It's something that I get asked a lot. Like you said, I do try and take out that sort of sword versus shield stuff, or to gain ranks to hold rank. I know it makes sense, and I know it's a decent way of playing for sure. But like we've kind of alluded to earlier, quite simply just try and pick the player who I think will get more points. I try and block out the noise what everyone else is doing, and I think, right, who do I think will get more points out of Bamford and Rafinha, or who's more likely to, based on these stats, based on watching football, and that's how I go for it. But yeah, it's a fairly logical way of playing. So I guess for someone like yourself, John, it not only does it make sense for the stats, you're ranked really well. I'm ranked, what am I ranked now? Around
75-ish, yeah, 75-ish.
Yeah, which again, I'm not chasing. I'm not. Maybe if I was ranked 500k, that's when I'd start taking some big gambles, and maybe just hoping, maybe I think, okay, Bamford I think is a better option. However, Ramford's the better chance that, if I get lucky and he actually outscores Bamford, I will then propel at the ranks. So it definitely makes sense if you chase him. I'm just not in that position where, I'm 74k. I don't want to be taking gambles and then tumble down the rest. I'd rather just climb slowly over the next 14 game weeks, whatever it is, climb slowly up towards the top 10k. Apologies for my internet keeps cutting out a little bit, by the way, so apologies about that.
Yeah, you go a wee bit funny, but I think we can get away with it. Just to let people who are watching in on a little bit of fun, me and Wes have a bit of a side bet going. Go. So Wes is obviously, we started this kind of our content, which I'll not overplug here, but we started it out as kind of like Wes is the guy who knows this stuff inside out, and I'm just the dickhead who enjoys football and wants to get better at FPL. And basically, whoever finishes lower out of us two this season has to paint a beautiful picture of the other person's Twitter avatar / profile picture and hang it in the downstairs bathroom for a minimum of 30 calendar days. I think both of our girlfriends at this stage are aware that this bet is happening. They'll probably forget about it by then, and they'll be surprised when they go for their morning poop downstairs to find either... It's probably going to be my mug on Wes's downstairs bathroom, but just for it's our fun little side bet. We'll see how that goes. Wes, I'm going to throw up another graphic. I'm going to take this one away, and I'm going to put up another one. There we go. Now, these are two mystery players. Now, the game has kind of been given away, you could say. But, yeah, people guess in the comments who is who. Maybe more so the red than the blue, if you have any sort of memory. But what? Yeah,
so this one is a little bit different. So the one we flashed up a minute ago was the last 6 game weeks. But to compare these two players, it made more sense to take a bigger sample over the whole season. And then it's done per 90 minutes. So yeah, one player was in blue, one player is in red, and you can obviously see there that the guy with the blue stats is obviously looking better. However, I would caveat that by saying maybe the player in red isn't taking as many shots in the box, shots on target. However, maybe they're more clinical, so maybe they don't need as many shots in the box, because obviously we all know certain strikers are better at finishing than others. So this is 2 strikers, and they're both kind of hot topics this week. They're players we're thinking about. They're not something obscure. But no, people in the comments are getting it wrong.
Yeah, it's funny.
So let's help them out. Let's help them out a little bit. So like, they're both a double game week this week.
I'll give them a hint.
Yeah.
You ready? Let's see. Oh, this isn't popping up on top. If I do this. Wait there, it's represented completely differently. Oh, that's because it's over the season. Anyway.
Whole season, yeah, so they're not going to look the same.
Anyway.
Forget that last graphic, leave that last graphic out. So yeah, this is, no one's got it yet. So yeah, it's they've got double game weeks. One plays for Leeds, one plays for Southampton.
There he goes, Yash Rizada. Bamford versus Ings, yeah. So Bamford's in blue, Ings is in red. Obviously, yeah. Ings looks a bit more of the creator here. Over the course of the season, he's obviously missed a lot of games, but he looks more the creator. But
Bamford per 90 minute. it's per 90 minutes as well. So the
Oh, it
fact that he's
doesn't
missed
actually
games
matter.
doesn't matter. That's why I actually prefer 90 minutes. So yeah, but yeah, carry on.
Yeah. So just it's interesting. So I think looking at both these graphics, for me, I would be going for Bamford personally.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I said last time I'd captain Bamford over Rafinha if that was the choice, and I'd also captain Bamford over Ings if you're comparing those two guys because of those stats. And if you look at the fixtures, like I think I've already said earlier, Leeds their two fixtures are easier on paper anyway than Southampton's. Southampton have slightly tougher double game weeks. So yeah, that's why I favour Bamford. And Bamford's not got any injury concerns. Ings has gone off a couple of times this season injured, hasn't he? I know he looks like he's back to his best, and scored that really good volley, and scored a goal against Wolves in the cup. So I do believe in Ings as an asset, which is why he's on my transfer in wish list if you want. But in terms of captaincy, yeah, it's Bamford for me.
Very good. So I'm pretty set on that as well. I'll be captaining Bamford this game week. We'll look at game week 26 next week. But for now, Wes, one thing that we didn't do, and I think it could almost be towards the end, it could be ending the show, is you put a post out on Twitter earlier, basically asking for people to submit their wildcard teams.
Oh, yeah.
So people have stuck their wildcards in here. I don't know if you have this in front of you, like if you can go and do it yourself, and I can call the names. FPL Cantona gave us the wrong screenshot, but he got there in the end, and everyone can see this. Poke holes. What do you not like, or what do you like? This is like the Master Chef of wildcard teams.
So are we on FPL Cantonas at the minute?
Yeah, so the one with Martinez, Shaw, Byrne and Dallas starting at the back.
Yeah, I've got that now. Dan Burn, I can understand it because Brighton are one of those teams who do actually have a game in game week 29. Brighton are also playing well defensively, and their XG conceded numbers and like shots, big chances conceded numbers are looking really good. Villa have blown a lot of teams away this year, but Villa couldn't even create anything against them. So yeah, I like that pick. I do prefer Dunk. I guess he's a bit more expensive. There's also Ben White there, is there? But yeah, no, I don't mind that shout at all. Crystal Palace this week, good fixture. Crystal Palace were awful this year, by the way.
They are. There was a period where Zaha was in a lot of people's thoughts. I remember it was probably back around game week 18, 19. When even Benteke seemed to be getting assists and goal involvements. But yeah, they've fallen right off and they're disappeared. The only other kind of pick here that we didn't talk about yet was Shaw and that United defence in general.
Yeah.
I think they have a couple of pretty tough fixtures after Newcastle, if my memory serves me correctly. I don't want to pull this graphic off the screen to go hunting, but...
I think they do have I think they've got a double as well. So yeah, we should have actually spoke about Shaw, so I'm glad this has come up. Yeah, I like Shaw as an option. He's taking like pretty much every corner, or a lot of them. Sorry, I'm not sure about if it's every. Taking sort of set pieces which are crossed into the box. He's racking up assists. He got an assist against West Brom recently, and he would have got another one if Maguire scored that last minute header. And he's fair, it's probably underpriced. He should probably be around 5.5 mil, but I think he's only around 5 mil. So yeah, I do like that shout. And he's got the only shout I don't like from him. I guess it's a gamble, but he's got De Bruyne on the bench. So I guess he's bringing De Bruyne in now to then wait for him to get into form and maybe looking to bench boost with De Bruyne in week 26. So actually, it does have some logic. And I'm not going to tell him not to do it.
I would be more inclined in that situation, and that's what I'm doing, is to get rid of De Bruyne, bring in probably Salah, or even maybe Son, and then maybe, I don't know, who do you play though, and you've got the headache about who you start. So I understand it, but I think my logic is I'd rather have the other premium, and I can just change to De Bruyne,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, same as me. So yeah, I'm not going to tell him not to do it. If he fancies it, go for it. But yeah, if it was me playing it, I would have exactly what you just said, either Son or Salah in that spot, and I wouldn't have De Bruyne yet. I'm assuming he's going to be. He hasn't actually said, but it looks like he's setting up for bench boost in 26, and therefore after that he can do similar to you, look at downgrading certain players, or maybe end up just benching maybe one of Barnes or Rafinha. Because otherwise he'll be benching a real high premium player because he's squeezing Kane and Vardy as well. So it's a good team. Areola on the bench as well is another option we should have mentioned because Fulham are going to have a ball and they're going to play in 29. So he's a decent option. I've kind of covered off the Fulham defence earlier. So yeah.
The next one is Lou, FPL Lou. He goes McCarthy, and he's playing McCarthy there instead of Martinez, which probably makes sense. Diaz, Shaw, Dunk. Again, Brighton are there. Brighton is someone I left out. Maybe I should go back and have a thought about that. Pretty similar midfield to everything we've seen. Pretty similar front line. And just basically benching the 3 Villa assets, which will be good for 29. So I think that looks solid. Overall.
Yeah, all good there.
BJR with plans to go Ings to Kane, Raf to Barnes next week for a -4. He has Martinez and Fabry, Dallas, Diaz, Stones, Rudiger, Target, all names we've talked about. Midfield, the big 5, it appears, the power 5, or there's maybe Grealish not there, maybe Barnes could be there. Bamford, Ings, Watkins. Again, don't think there's anything really wrong with that. It's all just different combinations of the same players, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and like we kind of touched upon earlier, it's not about us flashing up a wildcard team and everyone going to copy that. There's many different options you can go for. So yeah,
and budgets as well. Some of these guys might have 2-3 million less than me, or 2-3 million more. So these are all probably, well, we don't have the team values here in front of us. We probably could look at what's in the bank, etc. But I mean, these are all probably coming in at different price points, which is nice as well. But there's obviously there's a lot of the same players we're all considering for the same reasons, but obviously you need to consider, does 29 matter to you, or are you planning to free hit then? If it doesn't matter to you, you need to wildcard differently. Maybe you wouldn't be going so bullish on the likes of Villa, on the likes of Spurs, on the likes of Leeds. You probably would with Leeds having the double, but you know what I'm getting at. Sasha Craig has 2 wildcard drafts. I'm just going to pull up the one which doesn't have transfers on it and see what it looks like. Sanchez and Martinez, Dallas, Stone, Shaw, Dunk, Konza. We've seen all them. We've seen all that midfield. We've seen the forwards. Again, solid, different combination. Anything to elaborate?
No, just having a look at them both. Yeah, no good. He's got Eric Dyer in. I know which one have you got?
Is he getting?
Are we on Sasha Craig? Yeah.
Yeah, I was just looking at the one on the right, like the Dallas, Stones, Shaw, Dunk, Konza.
Yeah, like that one, and he's got the sort of double Brighton with the Sanchez goalkeeper as well, who's cheap, gets save points, gets clean sheets. Actually, I'm not even sure about if he gets too many save points because, like I said, they're not actually conceding that many shots. But yeah, solid. Nothing to criticise there or improve on. And again, we're assuming he's got a bench boost because he's kind of filling up his team with benching headaches if he doesn't. And likewise with his one with sort of some transfers there, highlighted in white. I don't like that one as much. He's bringing in Eric Dyer, who hasn't got a goal or assist all season. Spurs aren't looking great at the minute, so I don't think you need to triple up on them. If you've got Kane and Son, you don't need a defender from them just because they play in 29.
And Souček's there, who just doesn't have any doubles.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, out of his 2 drafts, the one that is on the right hand side, the one without the whited out transfers or whatever you want to call them.
We'll take one more. We'll go for the next one. Elgato99. He has Sanchez, Martinez. He has the Vestergaard shout. You said Pereira's an interesting one. Back into that Leicester side. James Justin injured. Pereira was a bit of an FPL favourite a season or 2 ago. He did have a lot of attack and threat.
Yeah.
The rest of that team are pretty predictable, really. What do you think of Pereira?
5.9 million. Is it still a bit of a risk? He was out for a long time. I haven't really been keeping up to date with how many minutes he's got and if I feel confident in him. I'm not best placed to sort of answer on Pereira right now. I would just be a little bit wary. And for the price tag as well, you've got to consider that James Justin was in my team and a lot of people's teams, was a great asset for a long time, but his starting price was 4.5 million. So 5.9 for Pereira, not sure. For me, I'd just a bit worried. When a player has a long-term injury, I feel like, I think I've seen quotes fairly recently about him being kind of eased back in as well. I don't, you know what I mean? I don't like trusting those sort of players yet. So yeah.
Is this the first team we've seen without Bruno?
Oh, I missed that actually.
That's probably the big thing here. What's not here more than what is here?
Yeah. Good spot. So for me, Bruno is probably the number 1 pick for the rest of the season. So consistent, goals and assists on penalties, takes some set pieces still, I think. Just always involved. And he's got the quality as well to back it up. He's not a player who has to have 5 or 6 shots a game just to score one. Bruno's almost must have for me. Must have for you, John, or not?
Bruno?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll be there for me for the rest of the season. I mean, I know a lot of people don't like to say must-haves, and maybe there isn't a must-have, but I've had him all season and he doesn't let me down. He's always a great captaincy pick. United have looked better than usual. He got 2 goals tonight, got subbed off. Like,
nice,
you're overthinking
and he's potentially got a double coming up. So yeah, I guess this guy's team, he's spread his funds around, but yeah, I'd personally, he's still got Salah there. I'd personally, as much as Salah's also a great option. He's got good fixtures coming up. He's top goal scorer in the league, so of course he's a good option. But out of the two, Salah and Bruno, if I absolutely had to only have one of them, I'd pick Bruno. But ideally, both if you can, to whoever that was for name. But yeah, try and squeeze Bruno back in.
Yeah, I'd agree. Even if it means, I don't know what he has in the bank, it probably says there 0.7, is it? Don't know how the maths works out. But if you could downgrade Pereira, add on the 0.7, make Son and De Bruyne. I don't know if he can now. That's another big thing I'm not really considering. It's the fact that, I've had Bruno since day one, so I got him at like 10.5. And a lot of people did. One last thing to talk about, Wes, I think, and then if there's anything else you want to talk about, but I've just seen him mentioned 3, 4, 5 times, and people are all asking, DCL. He wasn't anywhere tonight. Why?
What do you mean?
Like, he wasn't on any of those teams. People are all asking. Why not DCL?
Nothing against DCL. I like him. He's still in my team because I brought him in a couple of game weeks ago. I think ready for the double game week. He got me a good haul he got me 9 points against Leeds, goal and 3 bonus. He got me a great return against Man United with a last minute goal and an assist early on. And if you want a wild card, there's possibly better options. I think I saw Rich pop up in the comments about DCL could have a really good double in 26. So the fixtures, if you look at Ben Crellin's graph, you don't need to bring it up, but you could just go and find it yourself. The double that they're potentially getting does look good. They've got Liverpool this week, and they're obviously not defending that well. He is looking like he's back from injury. So, yeah, if you want DCL, go for it. Like we said earlier, we're not telling you, I think the three strikers you put in, John, was Ings, Watkins, and Bamford, wasn't it? But yeah, we're not telling anyone. Yeah, we're not selling. They're not the only 3. I also like Kane. I also like Vardy. I also like DCL. Yeah,
it's just about balancing the squad and where you want your funds. I think with DCL,
there's only 3 strikers.
I don't know if I have it in me to take out Bamford. And again, as much as I don't want value to dictate my team, I know I'll want him long term. I know I'll want him for 29, and he's there, and I got him like $1 million cheaper than he is. So it's hard for me to justify for a double game week punt in 26 to go Bamford to DCL. But it could be, if Southampton don't get their double game week confirmed because it's not a surefire, or Villa do have a double, do they? No, they don't have a double.
Yeah, Southampton obviously have one this week now. So in terms of if you're doing a wild card, you're almost certainly going to want Danny Ings because they have a double game week this very game week, and they also have, and Bamford obviously has a double game week this game week. So there's 2 of your 3 striker slots, and then your third one, if you're planning ahead to game week 29, maybe you want Watkins because they're going to have a double and then play in the blank. Maybe you want Vardy because he's going to have a double. Maybe you want Kane because Spurs, Harry Kane is Harry Kane. So there's lots of different options you can go for, and DCL could be that third striker slot. But I do think at the minute, if you're wildcarding, Bamford's a must, and Ings is close to a must. And you've got free transfers after your wildcard as well. So John, if you decide you do want Calvert-Lewin for his double game week, then you can maybe bring him in for a Bamford or Ings or whatever it might be.
Yeah, I completely agree. People, I think it's just how long he's been injured, and I'm sure he'll be back, and I get it. I just think on the wild card, I'd rather just play it by ear.
Yeah, and one more thing to add. Yeah, I agree with that. And one more thing to add is I don't like how Everton are playing as a team right now. They've just been a bit like they got Fulham absolutely deserved their 2-0 win, was it? Yeah, 2-0, and they dominated them. And it's Fulham. I know I kind of bigged up Fulham and said they're playing well earlier, but Everton at home to Fulham, they shouldn't really be getting dominated for 90 minutes like that. And against City, they did get a goal against City, which is again, I guess, an achievement. But I'm just not. I don't think DTL was like a must-have, and he's not. It's not like DCL early on in the season where Everton were flying, creating loads of chances. DCL was on fire. It's not quite that situation right now. Again, asset, but he's not a must-have.
Very good, Wes. Well, look, Pedja in the comments says he likes the stream, guys. I hope you all like the stream, and if you do like the stream, please. We're about to wrap this up, and those likes mean everything for people finding us through YouTube, through Google, through wherever else. And if you did enjoy it, do us a favour, tell people you enjoyed it. Go and make a post on Twitter. Let Hub know you enjoyed it, because they'll be more likely to have us back. But at the minute, we will be back at 8 p.m. next Thursday. Wes, any parting comments?
No, it was a lot of fun. Comments were flying in, trying to keep up with most of them. I missed a fair few as well. But yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I hope people watching enjoyed it. I think you enjoyed it, John.
Yeah, I had a nice, confession. I had a nice little pink gin. We don't have one of those funky craft beer sponsors yet, Wes. We aren't big time enough. But
we need one.
One day we'll get there. But for now, I got some dodgy Gordon's pink gin out of the fridge. It was actually very tasty. But yeah, I suppose everyone check out Hub on the socials listed on the other side on the side here. You can check out Hub in the links in the description. I'm at John Nellis on Twitter. Wes is at FPL Heisenberg. Might be an underscore there, but I'm sure you'll find him. What are you laughing at?
I've got two. I've got two parting comments actually. Stefan in the comments saying, "Yo, I love you guys. Marry me with a heart."
I'll take it.
That's the first. That's the first time. That's the first time we've got something like that, John. So I don't know which one, or both of us, Stefan. You can have us both. And also, you having an alcoholic beverage. I was having a decaf coffee in my fantasy football hub mug.
Company man, I like it. Company man. Now you see, I'm actually off work for like 2 weeks, so I'm just kind of doing whatever I want, shaving my head, drinking pink gin on a Thursday night.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go and put the bin out now. That's how crazy things have got. But Wes, look, guys, thank you so much for all the engagement. Genuinely, we'll be back next Thursday. Like and subscribe to this channel. They'll be more likely to have us back. And thank you so much for watching. Yeah.